Hello and welcome to episode 41 of Rival Banter. I'm one of your hosts, Luke Croft. Joining me, as always, my esteemed co host and the man who only gets a good night's sleep when he is locked up. Ladies and gentlemen, Seth Martin.
What a good song. Hey, everybody.
How many times have you listened to that song since we sent?
just just last night. It was enough for it to be forever with me,
Yeah.
and I'm eternally grateful.
So, for those that aren't in on the joke, so part of my TikTok algorithm is I just get a bunch of people who try to write their own music and have like 10, 15 likes on their videos that pop up for me, and got this song from this country song from a guy who was clearly like a divorced dad going through it. And one of the lines in the song is, "I got locked up third time this week, the only place where I get good sleep." And last night while we were playing Rivals, we just kept listening to that song and singing it back and forth to one another. But anyway, Seth, how's your week going, my friend? It's Tuesday, but
I've been going well, just kind of a steady getting in the flow of things, back to school and all that stuff. But yeah, overall, been having some fun. Been excited about this new Rivals news that we're going to be covering today. So I am, I'm ready, baby.
yes, yeah, first week back with the kids all week at school. That's got to be rough. I've been struggling to get in the swing of things as well since going back to work last week because I went back on the 6th. But I'll tell you what, man, I am super excited about this episode. We got a lot to cover, so we're going to jump into it right now because we have all the season 6 news that all came out today, which is awesome to see. But before we do that, we're going to jump into some viewer comments uh, from our socials and Spotify and all that from last week. So let's start here with Swagger over on TikTok, responding to our Lady Loki skin thoughts. Said, "I'm convinced skins impact the meta just as much as buffs and nerfs." Um, Thoughts on that, Seth?
I'm kind of wondering like the angle to that. I definitely get that it's like a kind of a popularity thing. Like when you get just a fire skin, and that's going to make people want to play. I also kind of wonder if it goes into what we've talked about before, where uh, hello, there you are. You disappeared on me again for a second. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Um, just about like in terms of readability on the battlefield, like trying to figure out who's who. So I think that can kind of go a few different ways as far as how it affects the meta and like the minute gameplay.
Yeah, and meta is probably not the right word because meta is the word to kind of express what's strong and what's weak, and obviously, I don't think skins impact that as much. I think probably what Swagger's getting at with this comment is just that uh, new skin releases often will impact the pick rates of different characters, and I think that is for sure true. I think some of the thing skins over the summer, all of the summer skin lineup, I think led to increased popularity for the people. But it's kind of chicken and egg, right? Like uh it's the popular characters that get a lot of the most of the skins anyway. And so it's just kind of feeding itself. But I liked that comment because I think it's true. I think we oftentimes see more. I mean, obviously with Loki, the Lady Loki skin came out, and I'm still seeing Instalock Lokis at a rate that we've never seen before.
Yeah, probably since like the game dropped back last December, right? Like when
Yeah.
he was one of the few strategists we had. So yeah.
And then Kislow too says summer skins had the same issue. People be mad horny for some pixels.
Yeah, when this Jeff Pixel skin drops in the next event, God help us all when those cheeks come out.
Wait, the what? The Jeff skin?
Oh, you haven't seen that? Well, we can talk about that later on, I guess. Yeah, there's gonna be a Wacka Jeff, like a Whack-A-Mole themed event coming out, and he's gonna have like a 8-bit pixelated skin.
Oh, very interesting. I do not know about that. If you want to find a link for that and throw it in the show notes for us, that'd be awesome. Um, but I
I'll
will
see what I can
read
do.
our next comment. Talking about bot matches. This is spam over on Instagram, which looks surprisingly like SpongeBob. But he says this is a problem with every single NetEase game. I knew it would eventually happen here, but in their other games, every single loss you immediately get a bot match, so you only get one match with real people like every 5 games. I've not really played many other NetEase games. I think like Fragpunk is published by NetEase. I didn't notice it as much as a problem there, but I'm also just not good at those games. So I probably am not as good to like pick up on when I'm playing bots or something like that. But that's interesting to know. I think NetEase does hold some sort of uh, patent on like these kinds of matches and stuff like that. So it would make sense that they're deploying the system throughout their games. I mean, I think for the people like the casual people just logging on playing, you probably don't pick up on the fact you're playing bots very often. It's probably more of an issue for guys like us who just play the game incessantly and can tell when characters aren't acting like they probably should.
Something's not right here.
Yeah. Why don't you read this next one for us, Seth?
I would love to. This is the Cosmo one, right?
Yeah.
Good stuff. I don't understand the disdain for bot matches. Doesn't bother me at all. It's either a quick win or a slightly harder match. It all evens out in the long run, and the queue time stays short. That's what matters in quick play, a short queue. I mean, to a degree, I agree with that. Like, I don't love the idea of just railing pain down on bots, but at the end of the day, I would much prefer to be playing against the person, whether I'm winning or losing. That's maybe just me. I don't know that I would necessarily say that I disdain those matches, but yeah, perfect world, they might not really be there.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder how much the bot matches really are improving queue times and um how much longer our queue times would be if we didn't have bot matches, right? Because we talked about this last week, but I'm willing to trade off a little bit of waiting to just ensure that I'm always playing against real people, you know? So I don't know. Cosmo, it's cool that it doesn't really bother you all that much. I don't like it. You know, I was playing earlier today right after work, and I've only got time for like 3 games before I got to do some shit. And one of those matches was a bot match, and it's just like, I don't know. It's not really fun rolling a team when you know it's not real people. And it's just so obvious. Like the way the names work, it's always a 2-2-2 comp. They do like weird hero swaps throughout the match, but keeping the 2-2-2. Like, because normally when you're getting shit stomped, you're gonna have people going like 4 DPS or some shit in quick play. So that's how you know it's a bot match.
Right, right. And the names are always a little bit off too. You don't have any like weird 69 names or gooing references and stuff like that. You got it's pretty simple, pretty basic.
Yeah. Then Ethan Brooks over on Spotify says, it's hard to love hero shooters when the competitive side is min-maxing every character in quick play, while I'm just trying to enjoy my hero shooter love. This feeling made me quit Overwatch back in Overwatch 1. I've been in hero shooters since season 2 of Overwatch, and I've seen all of this happen before. I just wish we would recognize our patterns as a community. I really actually like this point, Ethan. So appreciate you leaving this comment. I do think that quick play is sometimes way too sweaty. Like, it's one thing for ranked matches to be sweaty, but it's a whole other thing when like you're running up against a team, they're all playing on their lords. It's like, dude, it's quick match. Like, let's just have some fun with it, you know. So I definitely think that that's part of it. But I think the more that Rivals continues to add different modes that will kind of siphon off the more casual players, 18v18, zombies mode, whatever the next PvE thing that they were talking about in the Dev Vision video today is, like, all of those sorts of things siphon off your more casual players to where you're kind of just left with those kinds of people in your quick play matches, the guys that are trying to perfect their next character that they want to take into ranked or something like that. So I don't know if this problem is going to get any better.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can see that too. I kind of to a degree. We've talked before. I kind of like the sweatiness, just because it makes everything so much more intense. But at the same time, I don't know that that's what I'm looking for in quick play. But how do you differentiate min maxing characters in competitive versus quick play? Like I feel like if you do one, then it's going to kind of have some bleed through into the other.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't think there is necessarily a solution to it. I think the game is a much healthier place. The more modes and options people have to play, the more they're trying to cater towards all these different audiences. And I think that's what's resulting in it. I'd much rather have all of the different modes than to have a less sweaty quick play. So
Hmm.
I'm fine with where we're at, but I see what Ethan is saying, where there's like not a place to kind of get that 6v6 hero shooter feeling without it being super sweaty. And look, like a lot of games that have big competitive scenes are like this, I, I play a lot of League, and you jump into a normal match or something like that, and you still have people try harding, being toxic, all that sort of stuff in those matches too. And I think it's just the nature of any kind of game that has a competitive community, that sort of stuff's going to bleed out of the ranked mode and into your quick play. All right. Um, let's move on to and do a little bit of housekeeping before we jump into our weekend rivals. This is Rival Banter. We get together every week and talk about all things Marvel Rivals and push it out on podcast services everywhere and on YouTube. Just search up Rival Banter. And then we are also on social media on Instagram and on TikTok at Rival Banter. Make sure you drop us a follow over there as well. And if you're listening over on Spotify, we've been asking you to leave us a 5-star review. Really helps with our visibility and that sort of stuff. And you guys have been listening. It's awesome. We got every week we get a couple more 5-star reviews, so we definitely appreciate that. And then finally, join our Discord. We started it up last week. We've had a few people jumping in. We've been talking a lot about rivals in there. We were reacting to the Deadpool news earlier today, all the season 6 stuff. And if you join our Discord between now and the end of January, you'll get the esteemed founders role, where you'll kind of just be set apart in the server as somebody who jumped on in the early days of the server as we continue to grow. But yeah, jump in there. We would love to see you, and the link to that should be in the description. All right, we've got a lot to cover today, so we are not going to do a draft, but we are going to talk about our week in rivals. So, Seth, we finally reached the mountaintop, and by the mountaintop, I mean diamond, which is where we wanted to get to this season.
That was our mountaintop, yeah. It was a plateau. Yeah, it felt great. We've since sank back down to plat one,
Hmm.
but it is what it is. We had a really great run. We spent like 2 weeks hard stuck in plat two, and then in like an hour, we climbed out of plat one into diamond, like just like it was nothing. So I mean, it really just depends. You just never really know what you're gonna get. That being just kind of the luck of the draw sometimes when you're running one or two in a stack.
Yeah. I don't know. We, like you said, we had that couple weeks where we were kind of struggling, but I think overall we got there pretty easily. And I'm just more excited about Friday not being in bronze, not falling all the way back to
Yes.
bronze. So
Yes.
that was the main reason I wanted to get to diamond, was to have kind of a good foundation for us to climb in season 6. Because look, we got jobs, you got kids, we both have a family. Like, uh, we're not on 8 hours a day grinding to get to the rank that we want to get to. We play 3-4 games a night maybe. So to get to diamond feels good for us. If you think that makes us scrubs, you can suck it. All right. Um, but any games that stuck out to you that we played this week? The only one I can really think of is that double overtime on Tokyo, on the Tokyo map.
Yeah, I'm having trouble really remembering. I don't. There's nothing that really sticks out to me, but yeah, I mean that was pretty wet and wild.
Yeah, we had like a 30-minute banger on 1099. And dude, it felt like a higher elo game. Like people were making switches. We TP'd back to the point to stall it because I think we only got like 36 meters or something like that in our uh second round push.
Hmm.
So to come back and like have to halt them that close, it felt sweaty in all the ways I think you want rank to feel sweaty, where nobody was like cheesing what we were doing. We were just all making swaps that made sense.
We were playing the game,
Yeah. Yep. I think that was the game that like you started on tank, I started on support. I think everybody ended up on a role that they didn't start on too. Like I don't know. I
Mhm.
love games like that where it kind of felt like we were all doing what we felt like we needed to do to win. And that's such a rare thing to get six people all kind of pulling in the same direction in a rivals ranked match.
And adjusting around each other too, yeah, not
Hmm.
just kinda, like, stubbornly sitting in the same locked role.
Yeah. Um, but we're continuing to run into the triple support headache. Had a lot of thoughts on that over on social media when we posted a clip up about triple support, but over on our Discord, actually, Nick Tacto said, I can't remember if you guys have covered the solutions to triple support yet or not, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts. And then context, I've heard one camp that believes that Nettie should take season 6 and 6.5 to nerf a great majority of the cast. I've also heard another camp saying that DPS buffs would be a better solution. Personally, I think that the game may benefit from a blanket ult cost nerf. Seth, if you were on the design team over there at NetEase and you wanted to tackle the triple support problem, where would you start?
Um, I don't know. I mean, kind of I do and I don't like the idea of that blanket alt cost nerf. Because on the one hand, it's gonna make it kind of feel a little bit more like Overwatch, maybe in a good way, maybe not, because I think one of the exciting things about this game is how frenetic it is, like moment to moment, and you're able to just build up those ult charges so fast, and you have to kind of adapt and try to work around those to win. So I don't know that getting rid of that or like highly decreasing it is going to solve the problem. I kind of like, I feel like NetEase's approach in general to a lot of issues like this is just kind of like let players figure it out. We've noticed, I think, in the past couple of weeks, it seems like a lot more people are leaning into kind of a triple tank strategy to kind of try to break those triple deep or triple supports to kind of like maybe this big health pool kind of making a big front wall, getting in there, maybe having a dive tank or something like that, getting into the enemy backline, kind of like mitigates some of like just the constant healing coming from the enemy backline to their DPS, their tanks, whatever. Um, but yeah, I feel like it's kind of up to us in a lot of ways to, for better or for worse, to try to figure that stuff out. I kind of like the idea. It is just kind of endlessly frustrating, especially if teams aren't working together to try to get around that issue or to try to mirror it or match it or something like that.
Yeah, I agree to the extent that I would rather it be in the spot where we have to figure it out than for NetEase to be like, we're going to give you roll queue and force 222 on you or something like that. Now the camp that was talking about the kind of blanket nerfs across the entire cast, that was rival streamer of the year Flats that said that. And I
Mhm.
see his point, right? Like the power creep in this game has been kind of insane. But if you watched, especially like the Dev Vision video today, they talk kind of openly about how the power creep is like sort of a part of their design philosophy, where it's like, we want characters to feel powerful. We want everybody to feel like they're in this spot where they can make an impact, whatever character that they play. And so you can't really have your cake and eat it too, I think, in that sense. If there was one thing I would maybe change, it would be the damage output potential of your support cast. Because I just don't think you should have a character like Gambit who can put out 35,000 healing in a comp match, but also 15k damage. I feel like if you're gonna run triple support, there needs to be some sort of trade off, and that trade off is that a DPS player is going to that support role. So you shouldn't be able to replace the damage output of your DPS with your support. And there's just a couple of characters in the game right now that can.
Yeah, I like that idea a lot. I kind of like it. Doing the blanket nerfs kind of defeats the superhero fantasy in a lot of ways for me. Like,
Mhm.
you're already limited in terms of your movement. Like, you're not really moving realistically. You're pretty bogged down unless you're somebody super mobile like Black Panther or Spider Man. But even then, it's not like you're playing. The Insomniac Spider-Man on PS5 or whatever.
Mhm.
You're very much controlled in that kind of like hero shooter style, like Overwatch. So, this I well, You disappeared. You still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. This I just kind of like feel like that power creep kind of makes up for the kind of like restraints or restrictions that are inherent to this type of game. So I don't really want that to go away. I mean, it could work, sure, but I do think that that would kind of damage the feeling of power that you get from playing the game, like feeling like you're kind of stepping into the shoes of that hero as you play.
Yeah. I do like the ult cost nerf idea. And I know you mentioned like it kind of making it feel a little bit more like Overwatch in that regard. But I think right now, you can't really play characters that are only good in the neutral. Like, this is the reason that Black Panther, I think, struggles in the meta, that Iron Fist struggles in the meta, that, like Rocket can sometimes struggle in the meta and things like that, because those are characters that are really good in the neutral, but they don't have these sort of like game changing ultimates. And when you're charging your ult so quickly, there's not enough neutral time in the game for you to get the value out of a character that only really plays, it really makes his impact in the neutral. That's why you get people like Psylocke and Bucky and, the DPS that are just kind of always there season after season after season. Um, Continuing to be there, because as long as the ult charge is high and you can get an ult every fight and a half or something like that, you're never going to make that trade off to go play somebody who is only really good in the neutral. So, and also it gives more value to the ult, because I feel like right now you don't really have to consider when you're using your ult. You can just kind of throw it out, and even if it's wasted, you're going to have it back in 45 seconds anyway.
Hmm.
But yeah, thanks Nick Tacto for this the question there. And again, be sure to join our Discord. And then Seth, I at first was super annoyed by the like custom chat messages and stuff that you could use, because um I just felt like everybody who made them was being really, really cringy. But I have now used my quick chat for one thing and one thing only, and that is, I don't even remember when this happened. I think we were just playing randomly one day, and I just yelled out, "Somebody suck me!"
Yeah, yeah.
And you were like, "Where is that from?" And I was like, "It's from the show Dave, the FX show about Lil Dicky." And you went and you watched that clip of when they say "somebody suck me," and that's just been something you and I and Larry continue to say to one another um, when we're playing Rivals. And so I have mapped SSM to a quick chat of mine with a smiley face and a Venom twerking, so that everyone knows that it's not anything mean. I just need somebody
I just
to suck me.
need some form of suction,
Yeah,
somehow,
somebody.
somewhere, some way. Yeah. So if we could get that started, that would be great. I think it took off. We kind of started planting the seeds over this
Mhm.
past couple of weeks, just kind of peppering it into the chat here and there. I still need to fix mine, but we've had some discussions in game chat with people, just kind of like, what is that? What does that mean? Why do you keep spamming it? And yeah, yeah, it's meant with love.
Yeah. We had a whole team that adopted SSM earlier this week. So, and I haven't Urban Dictionary that to see if it means anything even way more inappropriate than what we're using it for. So that would probably be a good idea. But if you see anyone throwing out SSM, it's a loving way to ask for some suction. All right. As Seth would say. All right, let's move on to the news. We have a brand new Deadpool skin coming out this week. Now, we'll talk more about the character of Deadpool here in just a moment, but we have the pirate skin for him coming out. Let me share my screen here. Seth, like I said, we'll talk about Deadpool here in just a moment. But I love everything about how NetEase is handling Deadpool. And I think this skin is awesome. It kind of changes up his movement a little bit. He moves a little stiffer, kind of running like Jack Sparrow and that sort of stuff. I
Mhm.
probably am not going to play a whole lot of Deadpool to start, so probably won't get this skin immediately. But I like this skin as a first out the gate for a character. What do you think?
I, I think it's pretty cool what they're doing with it. Like this was kind of I expected a first skin to be in some ways because there is kind of like a whole pirate Deadpool thing. out there in Comic Land. But this kind of seems like it's a mix. Like it could almost go into like the 2099 series of skins in the game. Like it's does he kind of has this little futuristic helmet thing going on. I don't know. And again, I'm not like a huge buff on Deadpool comics or anything like that, but I know enough to know this isn't quite what the traditional like pirate costume is. So I think it's cool. I do really love when I saw him kind of prancing around on the trailer. I was like, what is he doing? But yeah, it's the skin that seems to be changing that. I really like that. I kind of wish they would do more of that in other ways. I think Lady Loki, changing her up's kind of a nice touch. This is kind of like a new aesthetic thing. As long as it doesn't affect movement speed and gameplay, and so you're not having to min max skin usage and stuff like that, that will be a little bit too far for me. But I do love just kind of seeing this and just like the love and attention to detail that NetEase is putting into that character design.
Yeah, all of today just really felt like we understand Deadpool. And we're showing it off. It felt,
Mhm.
and look, the only exposure I have to Deadpool is from the movies, right? But I just think they hit it on the nail on the head tonally there. Um, then our next item on the list before we jump into all of the season 6 news, Marvel Rivals versions of Luna Snow and Magik are set to be skins in Fortnite. This is over on Marvel Rivals leak subreddit from Lower Island 6120. So Gooners can unite over in Fortnite now as well.
Yeah, they're already sold if this is true. I saw something about this pop up on like a Facebook feed earlier in the week, and I was like, no way. I'm not against it. I think it's cool. Again, like the more you kind of get the message out there, the more you kind of expose the game or remind people that it's back out there. I think that's great. So keep it up. I will be purchasing those as long as it's not like an exorbitant amount of money. Yeah, I'll definitely be picking those up.
Yeah. Um, all right. Well, let's jump into our main topic of the day, which is all things season 6. And it seems like this is going to be kind of their new cadence of releasing news for the new seasons, because they did this with 5.5 as well, where it's just we're giving it all to you on Tuesday. We're going to get you the character trailer, the balance changes, the battle pass, all that sort of stuff. We'll have, streamer previews either today or tomorrow or Thursday, that get early access to it. And then Friday, the character releases. So I am loving the kind of deluge of content that we're getting. And it works for us, because I told you, I was like, look, if we don't get the Deadpool trailer today, we're doing the show on Wednesday, because there's no reason for us to do a show if we don't have that trailer yet. So I'm all
Mhm.
about them just kind of dropping it, by the hour, all throughout the day. But I'm not going to pull the video up, because if you've noticed some weirdness with like SES audio or anything like that, we're running into some weird network issues. So I don't want to strain what we're doing here anymore by opening up a bunch of links. So we're just going to kind of talk through what they talked about in the Dev Vision video, and we'll kind of walk through it in the order that they presented it. And the first is we got Deadpool.
We
um,
got him.
we got him, and we got the trailer for his character as well. And I've watched that trailer, Seth, I don't know, 10 times, and I still have very little clue what's going on.
It's very hard to read, yeah. Just, I mean, there's a lot going on. Guang Guang, or was it Deadpool that was actually explaining it in the
Yeah.
the dev talk or whatever?
Yeah.
Kind of helps, but like, it's not 100% clear. Like, is it just that one ability that changes, from kit to kit, like from role to role? Um, does anything else feel or look different or anything like that? I imagine you probably do have to get pretty granular and like pause and inspect um, the kid down in the bottom right corner, kind of looking at what the keybinds are, that kind of thing. So, I mean, do you know, were you able to kind of pick up on anything more in that department?
So it seems like his ult is well, before we get into the minutia, let's talk about this. So Deadpool is going to be all three roles. He's going to be a duelist, a vanguard, and a strategist. And we were all kind of saying that when they were playing the games with his character in the game after his announcement at the Game Awards. But so, you know, you're going to be able to select Deadpool and then the role that you want to play him as. And from what it looks like, it changes up some things with his primary fire and it changes some things with his ultimate. And I think it will give him one different ability for each of the roles that he plays, because they showed the like unicorn plushie that goes out and like gives you a shield for when you're a vanguard. You can shoot and slice at your teammates to heal them when you're playing as a strategist. But yeah, I don't know. There's I think a lot left to kind of discover about what Deadpool is going to be able to actually do on you know, in combat in these different roles. Because the other interesting thing that they announced about him is that he's going to have in-game challenges, and as you level him up throughout the game, you'll be able to unlock certain abilities. And I kind of thought this was cool, like the animation of him like looking into his notebook to sort of like see the upgrade that he wants, gives him that like fourth wall breaking aspect where you're kind of looking at a comic book inside of the game about comic book characters. But it's leaving me with a lot of questions about things like visual clarity. Like, apparently you're going to be able to switch his role if you go back to spawn, so like the same guy can come out after playing duelist Deadpool and like switch him to strategist Deadpool. So I'm a little like, how do you differentiate between them? Am I always going to have to open up my scoreboard to see like the little icon next to him? Like, I don't know. I'm interested to see what it's like in practice, but I've got some questions about the execution.
Yeah, yeah, that the execution I think is kind of the deal breaker because like pulling that map out, I mean that's or the notebook, that's badass. That's it's pretty cool. I like how they made kind of a big nerd RPG joke out of it in the dev talk, but at the same time, like, are you gonna have people sitting there like mid fight trying to like upgrade their character? How long is that gonna take? I feel like fights could be thrown from people just like min maxing their character in that notebook if you wanted to take it that far. So I don't know, kind of makes me think of zombies mode, like when you run out of time, and you're still trying to like get your ducks in a row. If you're like spending too much time reading, what if somebody's got dyslexia or they're like just kind of a generally slow reader? How does that like factor into how you quickly upgrade that character in menu? So I don't know. That's just I guess just wild speculation. We'll see. I'm sure that they've thought through a lot of this stuff and that it'll make more sense when we get there. So I'm just going to choose to trust the process. I wonder if the visual clarity thing is going to end up being a non-issue because again, if you're only depending on how different each ult is and how different there's that one ability might not um make too much of a difference, right? In the minute to minute gameplay. But yeah, you're probably gonna like see some of those changes happen like right away. Like if he's got that big healing field, it seems like it might be some kind of a passive healing around him or something like that. It should be pretty clear that that's going on. You'll see the unicorn bubble popping out. So I kind of wonder if that's even something that we really need to worry about right now. But it's again hard to say without seeing a little bit more, kind of seeing some specific gameplay going on.
Yeah, I kind of wish that they would have put out like a full explainer video of him for my sake, because I just want to see it. But also, I think this is like, we joked last week about how the Lady Loki thing was like you lock in the character and then you play the worst fucking game of Marvel Rivals you've ever played in your life. I think we're going to see that with Deadpool, because I think we're going to see a lot of people jumping in not having read his kit at all. Like, and that's always a problem with new characters, but when you're adding on top of that these new mechanics like upgrading his abilities, he's got the sort of like Samira from League of Legends things where you have to like land combos in order to up your like proficiency rating, and that's what unlocks your ultimate. So if you like watch the trailer, you see it'll start at like E, then D, then C, and then as he combos, it gets all the way up to S, and that's when he gets his ultimate. Which I think is like a cool mechanic, but I just don't think we have a lot of people in Marvel Rivals reading the tooltips on how to play their characters. So I was kind of hoping they'd be a little more intentional about like teaching people what Deadpool does, and they still have time to do that. But I don't know. I I'm ready to be confused myself, and I will read the tooltips. So I imagine the confusion will be widespread.
Yeah, I'm still confused on Gambit myself. I haven't really put much effort, more effort into trying to decode him. So I'm not going to be touching Deadpool with a 10-foot pole for quite some time.
Yeah. I mean, you probably won't be anyway because you're going to have to race the insta lockers to get to him. But I'll try him out in like
Mhm.
18v18. I think it's great that we have that kind of a mode. I'm fully expecting 36 different Deadpools to be in each match. But, I'll definitely try him out this weekend. I said this in our Discord, but I'm almost, I normally stay away from ranked for the first week, but I'm almost tempted to just play ranked when he comes out just so I can ban him. So I don't have to deal with people trying to learn him in my games. But I don't know. We'll
Mhm.
we'll we'll see. Maybe it'll be much simpler when we get into it. Because I thought the same thing about Rogue too, where it's like, man, she's stealing all these different abilities. You're gonna have to keep up with what she steals and what she has. And I don't really think it's been as big a deal as maybe I thought it was. So maybe Deadpool won't be either. Um,
Yeah.
I will say this though, man. I loved what they did with the Dev Vision video and kind of putting the character model of Deadpool in it, having him narrate it, him, interrupting Guang Guang, saying we've had enough of Guang Guang. Like I think they really hit the nail on the head with like understanding Deadpool and making sure that they did him justice in this announcement. I think it was a good payoff.
Yeah, I agree.
We got a new map coming in season 6.5, the Museum of Contemplation, which will be a convoy map. And that's the whole theme of the season, right? The Collector's Museum. I don't know a whole lot about the Collector's Museum, Seth. I think I asked you about this one time and you didn't know a whole lot, but do you want to?
No, I mean, just kind of that it exists, that it's out there, right? I don't know a whole lot either, but just that it's kind of a cool opportunity to probably have a lot of Easter eggs floating around in there. That's kind of what it was used for in the MCU. Like I forget what the artifacts were, but like there were things kind of there in the background shots when we were first seeing the Collector and what was it, the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie? Maybe
Who
the
knows?
second? I think it was the first, but who knows? Yeah. So I think there's a lot of cool opportunities for that kind of thing going on.
For sure. Um, and then we got some updates coming to Times Square. The first is that we're getting a photo mode. I don't really care about photo mode. Seth, are you a photo mode guy? Did I lose you?
For a second, what
Oh,
you got?
I asked if you were a photo mode guy.
Oh, not really. I mean, it's nice to have that. I'll kind of dick around with it every once in a while, but it's nice to have. I feel like I would probably play around with it a little bit here and there, since it's in a game that I do play almost every day.
Yeah. But I think the more interesting update coming to Times Square is that there's going to be a new Clobberin Club, which is going to be a new area where you can challenge other people in Times Square to a 1v1, which I think is exciting. But I think what's even cooler is you can pay a small amount of units, is what Guang Guang said, but pay a small amount of units to have your 1v1 broadcast on the big screens of Times Square. And I love that.
That is very cool. Yes.
And I think it just shows what we were kind of talking about last week, that they want to leverage that space for more of like a community spectating atmosphere. And so I'm excited about this change, and I'm excited to see what else they put up on those screens to get people excited about going to Times Square. I don't go to Times Square unless there's something to get in Times Square. This might be a fun thing to jump in and do when I'm like waiting for you guys to get on or something like that.
Yeah. Now the only thing is though, it said you do have to pay like a small amount of units or something like that. I'm
Yeah.
not sure how crazy I am about that and how small are we talking, but it remains to be seen, right? I'm not gonna knock it until I try it.
Yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to pay the units, but I imagine there will be a lot of people who will, that you just kind of randomly play against. So I'm sure I'll make it to the big screen where I can get dunked on by, some kid who's got 6,000 hours on Spider Man.
Hmm. Hmm.
Speaking of grinding hero proficiency, uh, getting a major upgrade to the hero proficiency in this update where Now, rather than just ending at Lord, you're going to be able to continue on to progress through your proficiency and get rewards. You're going to unlock nameplates and emotes and units and all kinds of different things. And Seth, we've been talking at length about how they need to add to the Lord system. This is exactly what I wanted to see. Just kind of an endless
This
ability.
I don't think I ever really thought about it this way, but yeah, I love this even more than getting like this still could happen. It could be part of this process. I don't think they really mentioned it specifically, but I think it could be cool. I love this even more, like just kind of getting dynamic face plates, getting like icons and things like that that you can add to customize your in-game or your menu icon, stuff like that. Just getting more units, more unstable molecules, more whatever. It's great. Why the hell not do it? This is a top notch decision for me. A plus plus.
Yeah, love it. And it's gonna give me a reason to go back and play characters that I've lorded and haven't touched a whole lot since, like Mantis and trying to think, like Luna Snow. She was my season 1 or season 0 lord, and I don't really play her all that much anymore. Uh,
Hmm.
so yeah, I'm excited about those. Let's kind of quick fire a couple of these before we get to the balance changes. But we got new accessories coming for Deadpool, Rogue, Doctor Strange, Blade, Squirrel Girl, Iron Man, Captain America, Daredevil, Black Panther, and Storm. Seth, I imagine Squirrel Girl is going to be the one you're after on this one, or is there another one?
I'll probably do several of these. Yeah, I'll probably, depending on how if Deadpool's fun for me, I think he'll be. I tend to get these for characters that I don't even play because I just kind of have an excess of those
Yeah,
of that currency. So I'm like, just why not just blow it on whatever? So like I picked up Loki's alligator a couple of days ago just because I had the currency to spend. So I'll probably get a lot, but definitely Squirrel Girl is probably the first one that I'm going to go for on this.
yeah. I've been playing a lot more Rogue recently because I'm trying to like get good at the that sort of a play style, that kind of get in, get out play style that Rogue has. So I'll probably pick up hers. Outside of that, I don't know. There's not really anyone else here that I play a whole lot of. There's a lot of DPS on this list, but yeah, definitely will pick up the Rogue. Then MRC is getting some changes. There's going to be more rewards for people who achieve different ranks in MRC. It used to be you would just get prizes at some of the upper echelons. Now you're going to get unit prizes and stuff like that, even lower in the bracket. So that's cool to see. College student perks, obviously, getting another update that's something that we've been getting every half season over there. So if you're a college student, make sure you connect your account to get the 10 new costumes and MVP screens from that. And then we got some balance changes coming to the game, and I am actually going to pull this link up because I don't remember them all. But so Zeong was talking about kind of like what they were going for in the balance changes, and he talked about all the things we've talked about, right? The dominance of Gambit and Invisible Woman, the people like Angela being very, very effective, and Daredevil obviously needing some tweaks and stuff like that. So it was interesting to kind of hear him talk about the read on the meta and what they wanted to do to kind of target the changes that they're after. But let's jump into some of these balance changes. Then we'll talk about the changes to the team ups. So uh, in the Vanguard category, Angela's getting a slight survivability nerf to her shielded stance shield from 350 to 300. Captain America is going to reduce the vibranium energy saw cooldown from 8 seconds to 6 seconds, so that's a little buff for him. Then Doctor Strange, uh, I don't really understand what they're saying in this thing here, but what they said in the Dev Vision video was they want to give him more mobility options. So they're going to increase the Maelstrom of Madness conversion ratio of dark magic to damage from 1.2 to 1.3. So just a little math change there. But then this was the thing. Maybe you play a lot more Strange than I do, but Cloak of Leviathan, new effect, recasting during use now interrupts the ability, preserves current movement speed, and allows for new movement input to change trajectory. And I just figured it out now that I've read it out loud.
Okay, talk to me because I'm still wrestling with that in my mind
Okay,
right
so
now.
so his floating ability, what you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to cast that in in the upward position, but you can cancel it when you do that. And when you cancel it, you're going to maintain your momentum and can then control yourself. So think about like how they changed Thor
Oh,
to match sort of
yeah, yeah,
zombies to
yeah.
give him more control over his movement. So that's an interesting change for Strange, because I feel like, yeah, you're most of the time just walking to the point with Strange. So to give him some more movement options, I think is really good.
Yeah, I think that kind of like frees him up. Like, of course, you can. That's kind of the classic ult maneuver with him. Is just like cast that, cancel it, fall down, and cast your ults. I think this kind of makes that. It's kind of difficult to do though, unless you've got it down to a science or down to a T, whatever. So I think this adds some possibility for that. If depending on how mobile it makes him, I feel like you could almost have him as like a mid-tier dive character in some ways, like kind of getting him to dive in. I don't think there were any notes about changing the cooldown on that. It is kind of a pretty hefty, but if
Yeah.
you're able to fight and you're getting the healing, then I don't see why you can't kind of like go in and out. Maybe not like a Venom or a Spider-Man, but in kind of a different type of way.
Well, and you get so much value from Strange pushing the back line because you can throw your shield up and then you're denying that healing to the tanks that are behind you. So
Mhm.
so yeah, I think the play style of Strange is probably going to change up quite a bit, depending on how this change feels. Um, then we have the Luna Snow of Vanguards with Emma Frost, because apparently she can only spend half a season not being in, dominant. And it's not like she's been weak. Like, she's still a really strong character, but she's getting a buff, increased energy for her. So you're just going to get more energy building up based off of the different things that you can hit with her. So buff there. And then more Hulk rework, more Hulk more Hulk buffs here to try to get him in a better spot. So, reducing the Hero Hulk Incredible Leap minimum charge time to from zero point 0.5 to zero point 0.4 seconds, and the maximum charge time to from 2 seconds to 1.7 seconds, giving him some more mobility there. In Hero Hulk form, reduce Gamma Burst cooldown from 8 seconds to 6 seconds and increase projectile damage from 70 to 75. So his clap is going to be able to be used more frequency. And then in Monster Hulk form, Hulk is now immune to launch and knockback effects. Um, I don't know, man. Hulk's one of those characters that's like, if somebody's good with Hulk and knows how to like get in and out, they're good. But I feel like it's a lot easier to feed on Hulk than it is to be good with them. So I don't know. How do you feel about these changes?
I mean, I'm definitely into the strange thing. I'm gonna miss mommy a little bit. I feel like this might affect her playability in some ways. Angela, I'm kind of interested to see how this affects her because again, she's kind of in that same boat too, where like you're either awesome or you're terrible with her. You can either like they mentioned her survivability and how that's been kind of a menace to reckon with in gameplay recently. I feel like that can be true, but also like if you're not managing her movement and her cooldowns that well, then you're not really going to see that same survivability. So who knows? We'll see. Overall, there's nothing here that's like totally blowing my mind. I feel like the strange thing might be kind of like the biggest thing that's going to affect me at least moving forward. Kind of the biggest change.
Yeah, I'm always looking for an excuse to try to learn how to play Hulk, and so maybe I'll give him a try again to see if this does it for me. But yeah,
Hmm.
I do like the kind of knockback immunity and the launch immunity for him, because yeah, when you're ulting, you just become like a big meatball for people to throw all their soft CC at.
Right.
Duelist changes. We got Black Panther getting a bit of a buff. His spear toss damage going from 45 to 50 and gaining 50% damage reduction during Bast Descent, which is his ultimate ability. So you can't be killed as easily when you're casting his ult. Iron Fist is getting some buffs as well. Increase to Jeet Kune Do's fourth strike damage from 30 to 35, and increase Dragon's defense maximum duration from 1 second to 1.2 seconds. So just trying to bring some of that dive back in, and not make the dive exclusively, like Daredevil, Psylocke. Then Daredevil is getting some much needed nerfs, reducing his Devil's Chain high damage range from 80 to 75, reduces his Devil Throw single projectile damage from 32.5 to 30, and then reduce Fury gain from Devil's Latch when grappling a surface from 2 to 1. these feel like pretty heavy nerfs to him, but it also feels like he needs some heavy nerfs because they needed to do something to keep him out of every single ranked ban because I feel like every single game he's banned in.
Hmm.
Then with Namor, they talked about how they wanted to make him less dependent on his team ups. And look, Namor has been a team up merchant since the day he came out. So I like that they've kind of recognized that. So they're reducing the aquatic dominion time for a single charge from 12 seconds to 10 seconds, increasing default monstro spawn health from 100 to 125 and damage from 17 to 18, and then increased enhanced monstro spawn damage from 11 to 12. So yeah, some good changes there for Namor, and then Blade getting a ton of changes here. So essentially, what they're trying to do is they're trying to nerf the ranged play of Blade because Blade tends to be stronger when you're shooting his shotgun and increase the damage that you can do with his sword. So when wielding Ancestral Sword, Daywalker Dash's new effect removes slow effect from enemies and apply 8% healing reduction per strike, 32% total of all hit. So more anti-heal into his kit. And then reduce damage from 15 to 8 per hit. So he's going to do less damage with those strikes, but he is going to apply that healing reduction. And then they're reducing the damage of each pellet on the Hunter's gun from 12 to 11. And then they're increasing or decreasing the range of the damage fall off. So it used to be 20, now it's going to be 15 meters. Just trying to get people to not, the shotgun shouldn't be as good a poke machine as it was. And then when wielding Hunter's shotgun, Daywalker Dash's new effect slows enemy for 40% for 1.5 seconds and increases second hit damage from 20 to 50. So you still have to get in the fray, still have to try to hit people, and you're going to get that buff. All right. I know that was a lot, Seth. I wanted to get through those. And now I'm going to turn it over to you. What do you think?
Cool. I think you kind of mentioned it. We broke up a little bit there for a second, or I did, one or the other. You mentioned one day in ban phase, like, has Daredevil really been that big of a problem to where we have to insta ban him all the time or something like that? And I was like, well, I think we don't really know because like we haven't seen one out in the wild in so long, or it's at least very rare because people do tend to insta ban him. So I do think that this is a welcome change. The blade thing, I can't wait to see. I think that's the kind of thing that has made me shy away from him because I enjoy playing the swordsman style with him versus the shotgun. Like that's one of the big things that drew me to zombies is here's an excuse to play blade and just feel like I'm just wrecking stuff. So this I think will change that a little bit. Maybe I'll be a little bit more likely to mess around with him in some quick play moving forward. So I think those are the probably the biggest things that I'm excited about. The Iron Fist stuff, take it or leave it. Namor, is what it is. But yeah, I do wonder how much that's going to affect anti-dive though. If we're not kind of seeing team up stuff with his monstrous fall or anything like that going on anymore.
One of the things that's interesting to note here is there's not a single flyer on this list. And really, it
That's true.
feels like Iron Man's kind of the only flyer that gets any real love. I mean, am I missing somebody? You got, you know, Human Torch and Storm, who just haven't been all that great, I don't think. So I don't know. I think they're so terrified of relitigating the sins of season 3.5 with all the flyers that maybe they're just a little hesitant to give them any buffs or adjustments. But yeah, just interesting to note that the flyers are not in this list anywhere.
Mm.
On to our strategist, Cloak and Dagger is getting a little bit of a shakeup here. So reducing Dagger Storm healing from 55 per second to 45 per second. So that's a pretty big nerf there. But when a spell field is created, allies in range get a one-time healing of 60. So you're going to make up for that by being able to, hit your spell field stuff. So, like the thing that goes on the ground, your light force cape, that sort of thing. And then the big change for them is that the Veil of Light Force and the Terror Cape is now going to share 2 ability charges. So each charge will take 12 seconds to come back, and you'll have 2 seconds between them. So if you want to do 2 quick Veil of Light Force in order to get out a significant amount of healing, you're able to do that. If you want to do the same with Terror Cape to apply the vulnerability, you can do that. So I don't know. This is going to kind of change, I think, the flow state that I can sometimes get into with Cloak and Dagger. But I'm excited to see how this will impact the decision making you have with Cloak.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is kind of like the mag thing. I think, it could definitely, it definitely will change that flow state, like we've talked about before, where you kind of like you're just swapping back and forth, that kind of thing. I'm a little nervous about how this is gonna affect her, but I think that's just kind of like change new things. They tend to cause anxiety with me, so we'll see what happens.
Then Gambit is getting some nerfs as well. His big easy impact healing is going to be reduced from 25 to 15. And then reducing Raging Royal's Royal Flushes is ult healing from 75 per second to 55 per second. And then bridge boost bounces on a single target are now set to a maximum of 2. So you can't just like throw out your bridge boost and it bounce multiple times on the same target, giving them healing. So I think that what they're trying to do with Gambit is get him into a true like off support um role, like increase the utility in his kit while decreasing the kind of healing output that he's able to have. I like that direction for Gambit. He's got so much in his kit that works with your team between the anti-heal, the cleanse, and all that sort of stuff that he shouldn't also be able to put up 40k healing in a round. So I'm all for that. Then Invisible Woman is getting some nerfs as well. Guardian Shield is going to go from 250 down to 200. Reduce shield restoration rate from 42 per second to 34 per second, and then reduce Guardian Shield healing to Invisible Woman from 50 per second to 25 per second. Pretty big nerfs there to Invisible Woman. Do you think it's enough to kind of take her out of her spot as the server admin?
We'll just really have to see in the moment. I feel like I don't know if this is just kind of across the board or if this is like intentional in terms of the meta, but I do feel like I haven't been seeing as high of numbers from in a lot of invises as we used to. I feel like she used to be pretty dominant over Cloak and Dagger in a lot of ways, but I feel like I've seen whenever I'm seeing cloaks, maybe they're just popping off and it's a me thing or whoever's playing the invis. But I feel like that's kind of switched over the past few months or so. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm gonna miss her if this does reduce her numbers that much. But it's hard to say without seeing it in the moment.
I think Guardian Shield covers over a multitude of sins with Invisible Woman too, where it's like I feel like there's a lot of Invisible Womans I played with where they're just kind of spamming Shield over and over on you rather than like shooting you with her primary fire. So
Hmm, hmm.
I think that's part of it too. If Invisible Woman is played well, she outranks every single healer in the game. She's got so much utility in her kit, push, pull, her shielding, the damage output, all that sort of stuff. Then for some reason, Rocket Raccoon's getting a nerf. They're reducing his movement speed during wild crawl from 10 meters per second to 8 meters per second. I don't know. If you were one of the people asking for a rocket nerf, leave a comment below.
Hmm.
All right, and then new team ups. We've got Deadpool and Jeff in a new team up, and Deadpool's going to be the anchor, and Jeff is going to gain Jeff's Cuddle Buddy ability through his team up. And so, what this is going to do is you throw out one of the toys like Deadpool himself has, but instead of a shield, it spins like a water sprinkler around. And if you're in that as a teammate, you will get healed. And then if you are in that as an enemy, you get all of this like Deadpool visual clutter added to your screen as sort of like, I don't know, a flashbang or whatever. I don't like that. like the one thing that I kept thinking the whole time we were watching the Deadpool trailer was there's so much shit going on the screen, and this isn't even including everybody else's shit that goes on the screen. Like there's so much visual clutter in the game. I'm not sure how I feel about a design choice where it is being like leveraged. Like, hey, we're going to add more visual clutter because Deadpool's an annoying character and we want him to be annoying to play against. Did you catch that, Seth? I know you were cutting in and out there.
I hear like 2 words every few seconds.
Oh damn. Okay. Let me jump back over here to the room, and that'll help us out. Probably. So, um, but yeah, what do you think about that team up with Jeff?
Oh, I mean, it's cool. Jeff has a crazy, I feel like, number of team ups just kind of across the board. So, I feel like I don't know if this is the most warranted one, but canonically, he and Deadpool kind of do seem to have a lot of connection going on. So, I'm cool with it. I'm ready to see it. Some of this other stuff I'm kind of interested to see. And I'm gonna definitely miss one of these changes coming up here soon.
Yeah, we've got the Penny is being removed from the team up with Rocket. So kind of a honestly a side nerf to Rocket because a lot of Rocket is played because of Penny. But now she's going to be added to a team up with Spider-Man. She's going to be the anchor, so she'll get an HP buff, and Spider-Man's going to get a web bomb. And so the way that it works is he can like trigger it, and if he throws it before it explodes and hits somebody, it will deal AoE damage, apply one of his web slings to people within that field, and then he can cast an ability. And then if he keeps it on himself and then it explodes, it'll give him an additional web sling from 4 to 5. So not a huge team up ability, but I think for some of the good Spider-Man players, it's going to add more ability for them to just pull off some crazy ass combos, probably.
Mhm.
Then let's see. I need to go back over here. So those are the new team up abilities. The Human Torch Spider-Man team up is being removed. I'm going to be honest with you. I couldn't have told you they had a team up because you never see
Yeah, I
Human
forgot all
Torch.
about that. Forgot all about that.
um, and then, like I said, Penny's getting removed from the Rocket Network. Then we've got the some adjustments to the Hella Namor team up. So increased tidal dirge cooldown from 20 to 30 seconds, reduced undead monstro damage from 12 to 10, and reduced berserk state undead monstro damage from 7 to 6. So a lot of nerfs there, but like they said, they're trying to get him Namor less dependent on his team ups. And then Vibrant Vitality, Loki's blessing is less overwhelming, so it's going to reduce the deific blessing ally damage boost effect from 25 to 15%. So yeah, you were mentioning you were going to miss something, Seth.
It was the penny rocket thing.
Oh,
Just like I kind of like it, it's a pain in the ass to go against, but I'm gonna miss it being there. And that was kind of like my big incentive to trying to learn rocket a little bit more. I've spent enough time with him, I feel like, to do that. But yeah, it's again kind of a cool thing to have out there. It was super powerful, but not a total game changer necessarily. That's all.
yeah, that's got to be a change just fully based off of the fact that Penny is often permabanned in
Hmm.
ranked.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, lots of cool changes there. Coming. They also mentioned that Strange is going to be getting a new team up in season 6.5 that's going to be a returning iteration of a previous team up that he had. And I'm trying to remember the Strange team ups that we had. Do you have an idea of what might be returning?
It's been so long now. I've been kind of racking my brain about it for a while here too. Haven't Googled it, but it's neither here nor there.
I was going to try to Google it, but I don't want to fuck up my our connection, so I'm not going to do that. Then some other things that they mentioned here at the tail end are Resource Rumble is getting removed from Quick Match.
Woo!
Yeah, praise. I wanted to give Resource Rumble a chance. I was all about like let them cook. Thinking that they were going to make some adjustments and changes to the way that it's working, but they said they're going to take it out. They're going to adjust it based on 18v18. I don't know what that means though, Seth. Like, are they going to bring resource? Oh, are they going to bring like an objective based game to 18v18 and it's Resource Rumble? And maybe we're all fighting over the 3 points simultaneously?
I would love something like that. That
That would
sounds
be sick.
awesome to me.
Yeah. Just kind of talked my way into that, but now I want that. Give us give us an objective based 18v18.
Like we've been playing a little bit more Annihilation the past few days, and we've like, when people are team fighting, at least like to any degree, it can be a lot of fun. Just
Hmm.
kind of like navigating around each other when you've got that many people on the board, and trying to get the healers to kind of fall in line, the back line, kind of from different angles, maybe, and you're trying to spread out that healing so much. Um, we've had, I think, the most fun we've had with that game in a while, trying to like just group up as much as possible, not just run around like a free for all. So I think adding an objective to that, or at least having the option to do it as an objective mode, would be awesome.
Yeah. Then Marvel Zombies is leaving with season 6. People loved it so much they extended it twice. And we were promised in the video that there will be a new PvE mode coming in 2026. Probably that capture the flag mode that we had been teased earlier. What I'm thinking is that Zombies was successful. I think it was good. But I think that the reason it stayed in so long is they probably wanted a little more time to cook on the capture the flag mode. Seeing how like Resource Rumble was sort of like received and stuff like that, maybe they wanted to take a little bit more time to polish this up. But we'll see. Then final item on the list, we got our Battle Pass trailer. And I keep grabbing the wrong mouse, but the new Battle Pass is called the museum ticket. And I'm just going to go to the end of this where they show off all the skins because that's really all we care about. Um, but Seth, what jumped out to you in the skins here?
This is the first pass I feel like where I haven't seen a ton that I'm really crazy about. I think if I had to pick favorites, I do really dig the Black Panther with the cape. I
Mm,
think traditionally some of the original versions, if not the original Black Panther, kind of had like a kind of small mini cape behind him. He's royalty too, so it kind of fits with his character. I liked that one. I think the Wolverine was kind of cool in there, and I like the Storm. How they even in that trailer lean into the kind of comic arc where Storm and Black Panther are together, and at least for a while. So that kind of stuff was cool. I like that Storm costume. I feel like it's been a while since we've seen much in terms of skins from her. So yeah, those are kind of my top ones out of this, but none of them are really like making me like anxious to get this pass or anything like that.
yeah, I like the blade skin. I think that one looks pretty cool with the mini afro that he's got going on there. Um, the Bucky skin, is that a different character? I feel like I remember this guy from Marvel Snap, but maybe I'm wrong.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, but I like that skin, although it kind of looks like the Groot skin of that same flavor. Um, the
Hmm.
Venom skin is really strange. I know they've been trying to do like they tried the other skin where like Eddie's face is coming out of the mouth of Venom. Now he's kind of coming out of the top of the head of Venom. Uh, so I don't know how I really feel about that, but I'm excited about a new Mantis skin as well. Even though it's not like crazy. Um,
That one was kind of, I feel like that was pretty basic, like kind of blasé for me. But I forgot that I do like the Venom skin, or at least the idea. I feel like I need to see it from some different angles though to see if that's really something that I want to equip.
yeah, well, that's good because I know you weren't really feeling the first time they tried something with
I
Eddie.
think that was just like the conical nature of the head or something like that. Kind of had
That's true. He had that
like that
like
little,
Beetlejuice.
yeah, the dog or whatever
Yeah,
from, or no, that was, what was that? Nightmare Before
Nightmare
Christmas.
Before Christmas. Yeah,
Yeah, but same kind of thing. Big cone shaped head. This one's just a little toothier. Yeah.
yeah. I'm excited though. I love the battle passes and working my way through it because it's not something I have to stress. Like I just finish it by playing. I think I've been done with the battle pass now for like 3 weeks. Um, so yeah, getting 10 skins for $10. That's a damn deal. All right. Well, Seth's internet is at least cooperated with us enough to get to the end of this episode. I'm not really sure what's going on. So apologies if I've been talking a lot this episode and if the audio has been weird at all. But definitely wanted to get something recorded because season six is exciting. Seth, what's the most exciting thing outside of? I mean, I don't even know if I'm that excited about Deadpool just because I think it's going to be a nightmare playing. But outside of that, what are you excited about season six?
I think just in general, I'm excited about the new map. I feel like that's going to be really cool. I love if they go this route. I love when maps have that kind of like just kind of Easter egg element to them, where you're kind of like enjoying taking in the scenery. I think other maps like Krakoa have done this to some degree too, with the Xavier stuff, the statues. So excited for the map to see what's on, and the team up changes. I think I'm excited to kind of see how that changes the dynamism of the moment to moment gameplay.
Awesome. Yeah, I think I'm most excited about the hero proficiency changes. Just having something
That's
after the
true
word.
too. Yeah.
That was the thing that
Hell yeah.
I was like, I gotta type that. We gotta talk about that. That's the thing that got me most excited. All right. Well, I'm not going to ask you what you're getting up to in game this week because we're just going to be grinding season six and playing some ranked and checking out all the new shit. So, but we are going to get out of here. Let us know in the comments below what you guys are most excited to see in the new season. And I'm ready for some change. I'm ready to see how this meta shakes up. So let us know what you are most excited about. But we're going to get out of here. We appreciate you tuning in, listening to us, and yeah, if you aren't already subscribed and following, make sure you do that. Leave a comment and a like. Maybe share this with a buddy of yours that likes to play. And also, if you want, join our Discord. We've got people in there talking about Marvel Rivals. I know it's always like awkward when somebody announces they've launched a Discord because it's like, do I want to be the first person in this place or whatever? You don't have to worry about that now. We have like 3 or 4 people hanging out in there talking about stuff. So come on over, join the discussion. We got channels for you to suggest topics, to suggest drafts that we do, to just discuss the meta, to discuss the game, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, link is in the description. Join that, and we're gonna get out of here. Seth, any final words from you?
Hell yeah, brother. Let's get this season 6 on.
Yeah, SSM, baby.
SSM.
All right. Good luck in your games. We'll see you next week. We love you. Goodbye.